G'day guys, got a 5000 that it's come in for upgrade of old modifications to new modifications, and I've just been doing some tests. The 5000 standard is fairly deaf compared to first generation 4500, and on one of my last videos I had a standard factory um, GPX-5000, and I did some tests with some nuggets, and it was basically deaf as a post. So this one has come in, and I've done a whole heap of different type of modifications to this. I went a little bit further than what I normally would, and got into the nitty gritty of why these detectors require their gain to be reduced. And I've come to the conclusion the real reason for it is that if you run standard 4500 first edition gain, as in built into the electronics, fine gold doesn't work. It desensitizes and just doesn't function. So it's interesting to note that for these detectors that you have to sacrifice um, some optimization, because if you optimize normal mode and enhance mode, you will lose the operation of fine gold. So I actually went and had a look, why was this happening? And after a while, prodding, poking, measuring, I come to some conclusions, and I implemented what I thought was reasonable modifications to retain fine gold and optimize, enhance, and normal mode, and make the detector far more versatile than what it normally is. It's very, very sensitive. I think in the last video I had to scrub the coil with a 0.05 to get the detector to even make a sound in normal mode. And like I say, it's in factory default settings except for the modifications. It has a variable gain added here, and I've done the electronic modifications to give it variable frequency. And at the moment it's somewhere around the top end. I think it might be up around 200 on the tuning, which is very, very relatively fast. So just give an idea on this. I've noticed on these detectors too, and it only happens on the 5000, that if you use cancel mode, which normally you wouldn't, it does cause some descents at the high frequency and high gain in fine gold. But when you switch to double D or mono, it just lights up and powers. It's really, really good. So that's not really an issue. I don't think um, you'd run very, very high frequencies and run flat out gain in fine gold in cancel mode with an old um, type of coil, which is highly capacitant, or highly capacitive, which gives rise to high capacitance. It's been a long day. It's 10:15 at the moment, and you can hear the electrical interference coming through a little bit. That's because the TV's on, probably the PlayStation, and the neighbours are probably all up as well. So I have noticed this at these times. It gets very, very chirpy. It gets chirpy during the day, and 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, it's nice and quiet. So sometimes I have come down and work from 1, 2, or 3 a.m. Just because of the noise environment just disappears. So we'll go up with this anyway. We'll get up there on this coil. About there, and I'll lock it in place. Now this is in, just make sure it's in cancel, it's in tracking. I'll turn tracking off just in case. It's in normal, it's in, normal timings and deep. And everything else is on the menu, standard gain, stabilizer 10, signal 17, all that sort of stuff is factory stock standard. So we'll turn around there. You got the 0.05. And remember before we had to scrub the coil like this to get a signal? Well, even though it's very soft, I'll show you why in a second. Hope you can hear that. I'm getting up above the coil mount, but at the moment, because there's so much electrical interference, I have the gain turned down. So I'll just turn the gain up a little bit, and I'll just show you that you don't need much gain to make a significant improvement. So actually I had the gain nearly all the way down. That might be about half, but now we're going to pick up the electrical interference. But you can hear it through the electrical interference quite easy. But you know, before we get to scrub it on the coil, get a very, very clear signal. I'm probably at about half gain. I can go a lot more. I could probably do some optimization in the settings to get rid of some of that noise. But I'll stick it into enhance, usually more noisy again, but which it is. We're going to get a hiding off this electrical interference. I'm pretty sure it's a TV or something, or the neighbour's TV. So, you know, that is that. You know, I can, I'll hook up the standard 5000 just to prove a point. Look at this poor beat up detector. This one has been, yeah, really well used. We put a new mylar strip on it as well. As you can see, it doesn't have that natural bend. It's basically straight. It's a new one. So we put that on there. We've got a new board in the detector. And there's a whole heap of stuff I've done underneath, but I'm not going to go and zoom in on that. 5000. Here we go. If you've seen the other video with the standard 5, you can probably skip past all this. It's probably going to be pretty boring. I might as well do that up. Okay, speaker. Okay, I'll just set it to factory default. Okay, that's just factory default. Put it in fixed, I won't put in tracking. Cancel. You can hear the electrical interference coming through on this thing too. So it's in normal, deep. It's very, very severe. Normally, these detectors just run quiet, but not today. So there's the standard 5. I'll take this up again. Pop that there. .05. Like I say, it's deaf as a post. They're all like that. All the 5000s. You need something like a 0.1. It'll pick that up fine. You know, even if we go into enhance, because they're set up with low gain, there's just no decent punch. Then we'll go into fine gold. You can see it'll be factory default in fine. It's a very weak signal, even though it is a 0.05, but you know, you need something like the 0.1 gram. It is in cancel mode too. So there's a lot of losses in the system when you run cancel mode. You know, you're losing part of your signal through the cancellation, or a lot of the signal through the cancellation process. But have a listen to this thing, right? This is how much electrical noise we've got here. It's all over the shop. I'll do a frequency scan on it. It will make no difference. You can hear it. It's just, you know, ee-oo. Yeah, just lots of harmonics of the mains or people's noisy TV sets, more than likely. It reminds me of the old days of amateur radio. You used to turn your radio on, and all you'd pick up is the neighbour's valve TV set, or even a later, you know, normal TVs with CRTs. Very, very noisy. Yeah, it's just as noisy. You have a listen. All those impulses. You probably get. Oh, I can't get rid of it on this one. I was going to say I was going to turn the variable gain down. I realise hasn't got it, but we have got gain in the back. I'll just make sure everything's. Yep. Manual tune. Ended up on 69. Deep. Very slow. RX gain. We'll just turn him down. Turning down to 1. There you go. Even on 1, it's still got a little bit of chirp, and I think that a lot of that's from its internal electronics. Little bit of chirp there. You know, it shouldn't be doing that on a gain of 1, but it does. So anyway, the modified 5000s are a hell of a lot better than standard. That is for sure. It'll be the difference. Well, it's obvious the difference between picking up gold and walking over it and missing it all. Especially the small stuff, and you know, there's so much small stuff out there that, you know, I mean, they have their place, but you know, give me a original first edition 4500 any day. It's my detector of choice because it can be just absolutely modified to the max, and it outperforms. Well, it outperforms just about everything. Just about, I would say. I can't say definitively it outperforms everything, but everything I've tried, and that includes 7000s and 6000s and all the other ones, even the SDC 2300. Well, I had one of those, got rid of that. Couldn't see the point. When you can have one detector that covers all bases and uses all the coils out there, standard coils, no mucking around with coded chipped coils. I still don't like that idea, but you know, I suppose it's commercialism, and you know, that dictates that you must buy our coils, or whoever's selling our coils has little chips in the coil. I was going to save this for another video, but this is the 6000. Oh, have I found some interesting things with the 6000. Okay. Now, everyone is on the wrong path about the microphonic noise, and they're saying it was in the coils near one of the micros there. It was here, it was there. This is all the microphonic stuff. It's not, okay? Now I'll pick this up and I'll show you where it is, because I know you all want to know where this horrible noise comes from. Okay, there's an inductor there and an inductor there, and they have been, or there were other ones there. They have been replaced. That and that have been replaced. The other inductors, I have a feeling, these are the replaced ones, by the way. I have a feeling they were wound on a core and very lightly lacquered, painted over by the coil manufacturer. And what that has done is made the winding susceptible to any type of vibration. And the speaker being where it is, the back pressure out of the speaker has jiggled the windings, probably through the board. And it's what actually happens. It happens in other detectors too. It sets up a feedback loop, and the detectors go off their nut. It just starts screaming and carrying on. It won't settle down. I haven't gone into great detail finding out whereabouts those inductors live in the circuitry. I'd say it's something to do with frequency control or part of the oscillator, something like that. What else could it be? I don't know. It's got a Class D amplifier in it, and that's part of that. I don't know what is around there. But some other areas of this that tend to be a little bit microphonic, and I've got some parts on order to clean that little part of the circuit up as well. Should improve the performance. You know, it still has issues even after the fix. I can tell. I can recreate issues. So if I can do it, I'd suppose it's happening out in the field as well. So I'm going to get my new parts. I'm going to do some tests. I'll show you how to test for microphonics, and it should be quite a good little video about the 6000, because a lot of people, if you read the forums, there's a lot of people having a bit of a whinge, but there's a lot of people who aren't. So it's a mixed bag of reaction. Some people love the 6000, some people hate it. I know there's an issue with coils. There's issues with the microphonics, well, the feedback, or the detector going nuts. We'll just call it the detector going nuts. So that was that. So yeah, it's interesting that it turned out to be the main part of the problem was those two inductors. Even though they are fully encased ceramic inductors, it might have been a bit of a good measure to add some, dare I say it, hot melt glue or non-acetic. You've got to make sure it's a neutral cure silicon. You could add that. Don't put standard silicon. If it smells like vinegar, don't use it, because vinegar's an acid. It'll attack the board and stuff it. It'll eat the tracks through. Given enough time, all you're going to have is vinegar in there. Even if it dries out, a little bit of moisture, even in the atmosphere, you'll start chewing it out again. I'm well aware of the effects of acetic type silicons. I have fixed so much industrial equipment over the years that the manufacturers and some of the big names who should have known better decided to put acetic-based glues and adhesives on their circuit boards, and it'd go dead. You just look for where the glue was, and you chip away the glue if it's gone hard, or remove it, and lo and behold, there's a track eaten in half. Very common. So a lot of things have been turfed in the bin. I was repairing $5,000 and $6,000 and $7,000 circuit boards because of that, and all it was tracks eaten away. So very easy fix. But remember, if you're going to do anything on those detectors, you'll probably void your warranty. No, but you might get a better detector. Bit of hot melt glue is probably the safest bet around that area, because they are enclosed inductors. I don't think you're going to do anything. You're not going to change the inductance value or anything like that, and it's not going to add any significant capacitance to around the circuit or anything. It's just probably a non-event, and maybe clean it up a bit more. That's something that, you know, anybody could do if they've got a little bit of electronic knowledge and can gently pull things apart without destroying it. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Give it to someone who does. There's a few people around who can do that. I wouldn't ask Minelab to do it. They probably look at you sideways and think, "What the hell are you on about?" But you could do it yourself. It's not that difficult. You need a Torx driver to get the screws, and you need a really long Torx driver. Some of the screws are right down recessed on the back. If you haven't got anything, it's probably over about, what would it be? Maybe you need about 3 or 4 inches long. You're not going to get the screws out. So yeah, so I'll go in the metric for you, 75 or 80 millimeters for the metric people out there. So that's enough on that. I don't really want to go and put 6,000 information on a video specifically on a 5,000, because then everyone will miss it, won't they? So I'll leave it at that. And that just proves that with the 5,000s, you can get more grunt out of them. There's a bit of work involved, but you can. And it might be very interesting having that extra grunt in the fine gold setting. I did do the hot rock ground balance checks, and it ground balances perfectly fine. It's no problem, even at the higher gains and higher frequencies. You've got to do stuff inside the detector to make it do things that it doesn't really want to do. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to give too much away on that one. Like I say, I have to go and swing it out in the field. So I'll give that to Dave. Dave can go and swing that. All the detectors get put over ground before they go out the door, just to make sure we're not going to have any surprises. Because sometimes, things can be overlooked. So, if you go out and detect with it, it does everything it's meant to, then it's safe to move it on towards the customer so he can go in, or she can go and find some gold. Anyway, that's enough of that. Catches.